We waited 3 months, and this is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Businesses and restaurants finally welcoming back customers.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go to work.
The new restrictions.
It's all about safety. It's all about making sure our customers feel safe, our staff feels safe.
And the new outlook.
I think this is gonna make us better, in the long run.
Boston 25 News, in depth, reopening Massachusetts. Here now, Boston 25 News anchors Mark Ockerblum and Vanessa Welch.
Good evening. Massachusetts is slowly coming back, but what does that really look like?
For the next 30 minutes, we're showing you how the reopening is working in Massachusetts, from your favorite places to eat to how school might look like in the fall.
And those changes coming as we are now in phase 2, part 2. And that means indoor dining is allowed and personal care businesses are open, like nail salons, tattoo parlors, and tanning.
We are still waiting for a start date for phase 3. Governor Baker saying he wants at least 2 more weeks of health data from this phase before we move on.
And that means the earliest phase 3 could start is in early July, and with it, possibly the opening of bars, gyms, casinos, and most other businesses. Youth sports games will also be allowed.
All this progress has been possible because of the gains our state has made battling the coronavirus in the last few months. Right now, we have the lowest transmission rate of any state in the country. That's according to the website rt.live, which tracks COVID-19 transmission trends. It represents the number of people that one infected person transmits the virus to. Governor Charlie Baker spoke about the importance of keeping that number low.
The way you really get in trouble with this virus is the reproduction rate. How fast does one person become 2, become 4, become 8, become 16, become 32, and the like.
As we've been reporting, several other states are seeing big surges right now since their earlier reopenings, including Florida, Texas, and Arizona.
And one of the most welcome changes right now has been the return to inside dining for both restaurants and many diners. Boston 25 News reporter Drew Caritas went to the North End, where the streets were alive as more local favorites opened up.
Well, we waited 3 months, and this is the light at the end of the tunnel.
On the first night of loosened restrictions and the second step of phase 2, a combination of indoor and outdoor dining culminating together into a lively vibe on Hanover Street.
Well, this is a Monday night, and you see how much people have accepted this new transformation here in the North End.
Frank DiPasquale, who owns Brico and 6 other restaurants in the North End, feels this is the first page in a new chapter since things took a pause in mid-March.
They want to be out of the house, they want to be out and about.
I know a lot of people are not necessarily wanting to come out into the public, but I mean, with the social distance practices and all that stuff, we felt like it was good and have a nice little date out.
Ronnie Guterman and Allison Walsh Ubered home to Malden after coming into the North End for a date night, and they say they'll be coming back again soon.
There was hand sanitizers at each table that we went to. They were cleaning the menus. Everybody was wearing masks, so it was good. They did a good job.
Those strict practices visible at every restaurant we visited, including Citrus and Salt over at the Back Bay, also thoroughly reminding guests to do their part.
Also, if we see people that aren't following the standards and the regulations, we kindly remind them, just please put your mask on, and most people have no problem with it.
The same rules previously in place at outdoor patios also apply to indoor seating. Parties of no more than 6 per table, and customers can only take their masks off when they are seated. The indoor dining does mean extended hours at many establishments, including Brico here, open until 2 a.m. for the first time in more than 3 months. In the North End, Drew Caritas, Boston 25 News.
But the opening didn't come without a few issues. Boston's licensing board says it will be keeping a close eye on outdoor seating in the North End. The board held an online meeting with owners after receiving several complaints. Residents say tables were not spaced 6 feet apart and loud music was being played after dark. The city plans to perform random inspections. Any restaurant found to be violating the rules will have their outdoor privileges taken away right on the spot.
Your guests will be asked to leave immediately. Your approval for the outdoor extension will be immediately revoked. We are not waiting for people to pay their bills. They'll be asked to leave right away.
Restaurant owners we spoke with say they were glad the city spelled out the rules again before taking any action.
Sadly, many restaurant owners couldn't survive the 3 months without customers.
Boston 25 News anchor Chris Flanagan talked to several owners who said they were just not able to make the finances work.
The patio is empty, the doors are locked, and the sign says it all. After 27 years in business, Bella Luna Restaurant and the Milky Way Lounge in JP is shut for good. The owners say they had no choice.
It's a very difficult decision. We just felt we couldn't keep the virus out of the restaurant, and that would be a danger to our staff and our guests. And so we just felt it was time to thank everybody and open a new chapter, close our doors and move on.
The Massachusetts Restaurant Association predicts nearly a quarter of all restaurants in the state will close due to the pandemic, 3,600 out of 16,000. For some restaurants, it's due to an absence of college students, which make up a big part of the business. Connor Larkins and Fenway among them. It's a popular Northeastern hangout. They posted on Facebook they're closing their doors for good after nearly 20 years, saying the COVID pandemic was too much to overcome. Same with Cafe Pamplona in Harvard Square. They've closed after 62 years. In Hyannis, the popular seaside pub on Main is closing after more than a decade in business. They posted this message to Facebook, saying it has been a wonderful 11-year voyage.
Cape Cod is the second densest part of the state for restaurants. And again, without, normal tourism drivers and all of that, very, very concerning down there.
Bob Lutz is president and CEO of the Massachusetts Restaurant Association. He believes even more restaurants like Bella Luna and the Milky Way could fold.
People are grieving. It's like losing a family member. Some people have been with us for all 27 years. Many people 10 or 15 years. We did Zoom calls with the staff and, we all cried. So it's the ending of an era.
The Massachusetts Restaurant Association says Boston has the most concern because they don't have the population drivers that typically drive the masses of people into the city, like sporting events and tourism, and that could force even more restaurants and bars to close. I'm Chris Flanagan, Boston 25 News.
Phase 2, Part 2 also brought an increase of office capacity, up to 50%. The MBTA is saying they're ready to handle the increase in commuters. The updated MBTA schedule doubles commuter rail service. It also includes normal weekday schedules for all subway lines, and bus routes have been expanded. Crews have been busy wiping down equipment and handing out masks. Even with the increase in service, the T will still be closely monitoring passenger levels. General Manager Steve Poftak announced a pilot program that will alert riders if their bus is overcrowded.
We are piloting a program which will tell you if your bus is crowded in real time. Again, it's on select routes, but we really encourage you to check that out. We're working to broaden the use of that technology to give our customers more information and more choice in terms of how they commute.
The MBTA's new Ride Safer campaign includes providing free face masks initially at key stations during peak travel times, new signs reminding riders to wear required face coverings, and to keep a safe distance from others on board. And the campaign includes a new web page that details the T's expanded cleaning and disinfecting efforts.
Local gyms can't open until Phase 3, but some are already releasing guidelines about what people can expect. Companies like Boston Sports Club say temperatures will be taken, masks must be worn at all times, and club goers will need to sign waivers. Planet Fitness says they will offer additional sanitation stations, but no temperature checks or masks. State guidelines for gyms are expected in the next few weeks.
When this in-depth special continues, nail salons opening their doors.
But not before taking some very expensive steps to prepare.
Nail salons are back in business, but with a lot of changes. What to expect before you get a mani-pedi.
And summer blockbusters, they're coming back to the big screen in just a few weeks.
Been thinking about implementing reserved seating for some time. We're working on that now.
How the experience of going to the movies will be changing. Welcome back to our in-depth special as Massachusetts reopens movie theaters that have been dark for months and will finally return to life. As Boston 25 Morning News anchor Sarah Underwood shows us, they are ready to butter the popcorn as they put the final touches on new safety plans.
No one has seen a movie here at the Coolidge Corner Theater in Brookline since March, but Executive Director Catherine Tallman is getting ready to host a crowd, albeit a smaller one.
It's all about safety. It's all about making sure our customers feel safe, our staff feels safe.
Changes will start before a visitor even gets to the theater. All tickets will be sold online.
We've been thinking about implementing reserved seating for some time. We're working on that now, so that if people know exactly what seat they have, then they won't have to feel like they have to get here early and stand in lines. Our staff will have a bit more of an ushering role than they've ever had.
Ultimately, only about a quarter of these seats will be sold to maintain plenty of space between people.
I think that right now we're just assuming that our ticket prices will be the same.
Major chains are also announcing opening dates. Regal Cinema is targeting July 10th, AMC Theaters the 15th. Boston Globe film critic Ty Burr says each company is taking a different approach to dealing with the coronavirus.
People should ask themselves and look at which chain they're going to, because while all the major chains have announced new sanitation procedures and protocols, some of them are different. Everybody's putting in new air filtration systems. Everybody's insisting on online ticket sales.
Big budget blockbusters are standing by for summer crowds, like Christopher Nolan's Tenet.
Fights alongside a witch.
And Disney's live-action adaptation of Mulan. Both are now scheduled to be released in July.
There are plenty of movies. There are movies that were supposed to come out earlier, in June and in May that have been pushed back. Many titles have been pushed back into 2021. There's a James Bond movie.
We all have our secrets.
After months of streaming Netflix and Prime, Tallman hopes that people are ready for the big screen experience again.
The death of cinema moviegoing has been predicted forever, through video, through television, through streaming, and it always comes back. People need to be together. Even if they don't know each other, they just need to share a collective experience, and that's what happens here.
Movie theaters are part of Phase 3 here in Massachusetts. That means the earliest they can open will be July 6th. Prior to opening, Governor Baker would be expected to outline more specific safety measures that theaters will have to take to open here in Massachusetts. Sarah Underwood, Boston 25 News.
Many nail salons in the state welcome customers back this week for the first time since March. Boston 25 News reporter Joy Demandin spoke with a couple who explained the work that went into getting their salon ready.
Like I said, last night I woke up middle of the night because I said, oh my God, I'm gonna go to work today.
Tracy and Chi Lee are excited to be back open. When I spoke with them, their phones were ringing nonstop. For the past 3 years, they've owned Oasis Nails and Day Spa, serving customers in the Dedham area. But for the past 3 months, their doors remain shut.
3 months, we've been do a lot of project inside the salon to try to get ready for the reopening.
Even though customers couldn't come in, the couple started preparing for this day. A deep clean, new polishes, stations separated 6 feet apart, and the biggest addition, plexiglass dividers.
I see the dividers, and not only did you put up the dividers, they really go with the whole look of your salon. That must have cost extra money also.
Oh, it's a fun project that my wife put on me to create those dividers. So we research a bunch of, what other people are doing. And, oh my God, those hard to find. So
you did. Yeah, we have to a custom made because our manicure station is really different from the individual table.
Your clients, they must have been calling even before you were allowed to reopen.
My client, they really supporting us. Even, we are only 3 years in the business, but we have really good relationship with our client. And then they checking how we doing, how my family doing, how we've been through this 3 months.
Oh, I couldn't wait for her to open. Couldn't wait. I made the appointment this morning.
All nail salons will require everyone to wear a face covering and wash or sanitize their hands when entering. At this time, services are by appointment only. Joy Demandin, Boston 25 News.
All the casinos in Massachusetts are still closed, but that doesn't mean you can't gamble in New England.
One of our #1 priorities is health and safety here at the resort, so we have a lot of new protocols in place.
Why the Foxwoods Resort in Connecticut says they're not gambling with the health of their visitors.
And the state issued guidelines as schools work to reopen for the fall, why it may be a while before all the questions are answered. When this in-depth special on the next steps in reopening Massachusetts returns. When it comes to casinos and coronavirus, other New England states are a few steps ahead of us in their return to gaming.
Massachusetts casinos reopen in phase 3, but the dice are rolling at Foxwoods Resort in Connecticut. Boston 25 Morning News anchor Jean Levanchi shows us the new safety measures they've put in place.
The games and the gamblers are back at the Foxwoods Resort Casino. The coronavirus caused the massive complex to close for the first time in its 28-year history. So far, about 25% of the facility is open.
From a gaming perspective, our patrons have all the options that they have had. We have less units available, but from a slots and table games perspective, they can find all their favorite games that they're typically used to playing.
Jason Guyett, the interim CEO, believes that they developed a plan that allows for everyone to be entertained and be safe.
We worked with medical experts, our chief medical officer, and other industry kind of specialists to look and review what kind of precautions and protocols we need to put into place to reopen safely.
Watch as customers enter the casino. Thermal imaging detects if anyone has a temperature and makes sure that everyone is wearing a mask.
If they fail that, we'll retest them. And again, if they fail again, we will escort them off property and hand them a COVID-19 information card that'll give them more information about what their next step should be.
Around the facility, there are reminders about acting safely and markings on the floor to keep everyone 6 feet apart. This week, more dining options will become available.
Right now, the buffet is closed. We don't have an anticipated opening date, but we are looking forward to allowing sit-down dining at 50% capacity at our restaurants within the resort.
The casino sits on land controlled by the Pequot tribe, which meant it could open despite Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont's concerns that this plan was too aggressive. His administration even put up these signs on state roads that lead to the casino telling people not to gamble with their health. But Guyett believes all of the new procedures, including intense sanitizing of play areas, gives visitors good odds that they can play safely.
We welcome everyone, and I would just say safety and security remains our #1 priority.
That was Jean Levanchi reporting. The State Gaming Commission has finalized its health and safety standards for reopening here in Massachusetts. The commission had already decided no poker, craps, or roulette until further notice. Blackjack-style gaming tables will be capped at 3 players, and players must wear face coverings. The commission also added players will not be allowed to carry drinks while moving around the gaming floor. And casinos will need either 6 feet of distance between slot machines or have plexiglass installed.
School guidelines for the fall are out.
And the reaction from parents and teachers coming in.
And this document is actually asking us to take a leap of faith on the science that is mixed.
We'll outline what school will look like in September and what's still up in the air. Welcome back to this in-depth special looking at the next steps in the reopening of Massachusetts. The state has now issued school reopening guidance for the fall.
18 pages of answers, but still plenty of questions remain. The biggest, when will schools open and how much remote learning should parents prepare for?
We did get answers on mask recommendations. They are required for grades 2 and up. Classroom arrangements, desks must be at least 3 feet apart, and where students will be eating their meals in the classroom.
As Boston 25 News reporter Melanie Basu explains, school committee members in each district will have a lot to prepare for.
You can only imagine how stressful this is for school committee members here in Brockton. 7 school committee members will have to make decisions for 16,500 students and their parents. The big question here is there enough social distancing, and how can they even make that possible?
9-year-old Avery Gormley will be in 5th grade this fall at a Brockton school. She's excited to get back to school and see her friends. The Gormleys think the new state guidelines are realistic.
The social distancing being cut down to 3 feet is a lot manageable.
Brockton was one of the hardest hit communities during the spike in the coronavirus cases.
A lot of the grandparents live with our kids.
Mark D'Agostino is the vice chair for the Brockton School Committee.
And at every possible space we have, and in individual classrooms, are there things in the rooms that don't have to be there that we can get out of the rooms and put in storage?
With the 23 school buildings and close to 20,000 students and staff members, Every town and city's numbers are different, but every school committee in the Commonwealth must come up with a plan to figure out how to get as many students as possible to return to physical classrooms. They must also come up with a model to incorporate hybrid learning, a mix of time spent in the classroom and learning remotely. And there must also be a plan in place to operate a fully remote learning program. School committee members play a key role in those plans. D'Agostino says funding is an issue.
We've had to let go of some teachers at the moment, but we're going to need to have less kids in classrooms.
And the committee also has to work out how the thousands of kids will be school bused to school. For Avery, who her sister says has asthma, social distancing on a school bus may be difficult, but she continues to educate her.
If you have a mask on, it brings the percentage of transmission down.
D'Agostino tells us they will not leave any stone unturned, and once they have a plan in place, they will share it with parents and the community for feedback. We're in Brockton. I'm Molly Basu, Boston 25 News.
Stay with us for continuing coverage as we learn more about Phase 3 of the reopening of Massachusetts and beyond. Until then, thanks for joining us for this in-depth special.
All of us here at Boston 25 News are wishing you and your family good health.